And it's got to be more of a sudden, like, sort of eruption of movement rather than a slow. It's not really.
Oh, you can just sort of roll around and say, hey,
like,
we're at Google next.
No.
1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So hi everybody, Fintan Murphy from Damson Cloud. This week we are at the Google Next conference in London, and I've taken the opportunity to chat to my colleague Rowan from Cobry, and we're going to talk about a couple of different topics around G Suite and collaboration and digital transformation, like I do with other groups. And maybe we could start with a little intro on Cobry, if people don't know who you guys are.
Sure. So Cobry are Scotland's #1 Google Cloud partners. Of course we would say that, but we are. That's kind of all we do as a company. We help people move and make the most of G Suite through a mixture of deployment stuff, technical stuff, and change management. That's sort of the two halves. And that's what we do. We help people make the most of Google. And
your team has kind of grown recently. You know, you guys are really on the expand. Maybe you could talk about that. The company, you know, used to just be Colin yourself, and now it's quite a bit more.
Quite. It couldn't have worked out much better, actually, for me at least. So started off with Colin, and then he did a uni project when I was back at uni. We did a sort of business consultancy thing, and then he wanted me to do a little work with him over the summer. That sort of snowballed a little bit, and then when I graduated, offered me a full-time job.
And how long ago was this? We're talking maybe
4 years. 4 years. Okay. Yeah, 4 years behind the mast of Cobry. But yeah, and now this year we've added a few more team members. We're up to 8 of us.
Wow.
And we're all quite...
It's like every week you guys are adding people. It's crazy.
Well, but you know what I like about it? We're all quite multidisciplinary. So I've focused on I'm the technical lead, so that's my role, but I also do training and project management and sales and marketing and all sorts of things. So it's good that we're all able to sort of move about and...
Yeah, and I think in small businesses, you know, obviously we're same as you guys, we're small business, you end up double jobbing. Yeah, you've got multiple hats that you've got to kind of wear and put on.
I have all the hats.
Yeah. And sometimes you got all the hats, yeah. And in terms of the different roles, which one is your kind of favorite? You know,
what favorite?
Okay. Yeah, what do you kind of lean towards? You know what I mean? Naturally, like
I probably lean more towards technical, more of like a reserve guy naturally. But more recently, change management stuff. I love doing that because key thing for me in my job is making people work better together. That's what I love. That's what I love.
The transformational sort of piece.
So someone comes to me with a problem, I like giving them a solution, and that's where we can add most value. Because the tools are so good, as you know, that we don't need to do this sort of break fix thing anymore, right?
Yeah, that's kind of gone.
The Google tools don't break, so we can do value adds, make the most of that.
And I think that's it. There's a huge, and I can remember that conversation in the early days, even. Do you know what I mean? When we moved customers over, like
it's a bizarre thing.
Yeah, 7, 8 years ago, I can remember IT manager saying, people look at our IT team differently. They're not coming to me anymore and saying, "Hey, my laptop's broken, can you fix it?" They're coming and saying, "Can you change how I work?" You know, and it changes.
It's a cultural change.
It's a cultural change, yeah. And we were a traditional IT support business, so we sort of saw that change in our own business as well. Do you know what I mean? You're lucky; you've just come straight into the cloud world.
I am. I see some of the older tech, and I'm very glad that I was born later.
Yeah. Some of it very, very painful, and some of it's still around, unfortunately. So in your kind of conversations with customers, what's the kind of most common challenges that come up around, you know, when they're sort of living in that old world? You know, what's the kind of typical conversation?
Well,
how does it go?
2 things mainly, I think, and they are security. So people are like, Google is a consumer product. It's not secure. It's on the cloud, so it's on the internet, so people can access it less secure. Which is not true, of course, for many reasons. But also change management. So people are concerned about their staff, and often their staff have had no IT training. So never mind G Suite, never mind Microsoft, like nothing. So they're coming from a really low skill level, and they're concerned that even the slightest change will be quite a big rock in the boat for them. Really affect their work.
And change management is, I mean, like we've had this conversation before. Change management is probably, if not the most important piece in a project.
I would definitely say
it's the reason a project will be successful or not. Do you find that a challenge with customers? I know we have in the past to kind of sell that in or ensure that that's part of the project. Do you know what I mean? That they kind of include.
We do for the smaller customers. We prefer to work with people that value it more, because that's where we can help out the most.
Yeah, sure.
Making a move technically is, you know, it's difficult, but it's definitely achievable.
But it's been done. It's kind of tried and tested. The tools are there. We know we can migrate the data.
Change management is a much more abstract concept, but very valuable, very, very valuable. And that's kind of why I said that I like doing that the most now, because it's where we add most value, and that's what I like doing, adding value.
And in terms of how the business has developed, you know, you joined sort of 4 years ago. Have you seen how deployments are done and the sort of change management piece? Have you seen that change over the kind of 4 or 5 years?
Definitely. We're much more confident with proposing a set of change management activities. So maybe previously it would have just been training, right? That's kind of the whole program is just really training, and maybe some comms, like some emails saying the move is coming, here's some things to worry about. But now we've got Google Guides, we've got transformation workshops, we've got posters, videos, all sorts of things.
Yeah, big on the videos, obviously.
But I would also say our range, our capacity of things we do, along with G Suite, has increased. So third-party tools, security stuff. So it's more like, instead of just making the move, now we like do we upgrade the security. We do these workshops where we're like, how can you use the tools better? We say when they come at us with problems, where we have a number of different ways we can solve them, like Google Apps Script stuff. We're starting to do that now, which is really cool.
You guys are doing a lot of work with data studios at the moment, and I think that's the kind of next big thing. You know, like what's kind of coming in the next couple of years, and what's going to be big in terms of all of our own customers. I think data, big BigQuery, business intelligence, BI, all of that kind of stuff, I think is going to be huge. What have you sort of found with the data studio stuff? Have you any things you can share in terms of projects you've done, or?
Well, really helpful for companies. It's usually a big problem to try and assess this type of data. Good for us because it's so googly in its nature, so it's easy to share and control permissions of stuff like that, which is a big thing. Like, people are worried about, we need to show just this part of data with some people, just this with ours.
So there's a larger set of data, but we just want to surface this particular thing to this team, and they can't see the rest of this information.
Absolutely. Big challenge with it is how people collect the data, right? Actually displaying it and aggregating it and analyzing it, not that big a deal. But people collect data in interesting ways, increasingly variably interesting ways.
And so trying to bring that into a single set of a single source of truth really is the hard part.
It's usually a spreadsheet, which needs highly doctored. People's spreadsheet ability is varied, so we need to do a bit of doctoring there. And then once it's actually in Data Studio, really easy to manipulate, and it's really not that technical either. So
I'm not as familiar with it. I'm sort of, it's an interesting product. I know some of our other team, like Raheem and stuff, take a look at it. I'm not as familiar with it.
It's a really good tool. I would highly recommend. Really good.
And do you see that kind of area becoming bigger over the next?
Totally. It's been one of the biggest projects we've done this year, for sure. So yeah, we want to keep doing the moves and stuff, but this stuff is very aligned.
But it's the value add piece, like you were saying. Do you know what I mean? And it's, you do the stuff with customers. You migrate. Our sort of 3 pillars are migrate, secure, and transform. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you guys have sort of something similar. The migration bit has to happen because you have to get customers over to the product. But then once they're there, well, what do you work on?
That's where you can do the interesting stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, the security. Google have security workshops now, that they've trained partners on. You've got the transformation stuff, transformation labs. How have you guys kind of found the transformation labs? Have you done a lot of that stuff, or a little bit, or?
We're still trying to get into bigger customers that are willing to really
pay for that. And invest in that, because it is a large investment. And not, when I say investment, I don't just mean in the cost of bringing ourselves in. It's time. Like, they've got to dedicate a half day or a day to often senior people in the business and say, go work on this particular thing,
Well, we've probably done it a load informally. Like one-to-one sessions or like little group sessions, for sure. But the more formal stuff, not so much, but it's really useful. We love doing this stuff. That is really one of the most value-added activities we can do.
Yeah, and I think it is one of those things that, like, when we started doing the transformation labs, we kind of would throw them in for free often. I mean, to start out, and you sort of get your first one free, try it out.
Maybe they see the value of it.
They see the value of it, and that's what we kind of found with the bigger customers, that once they did 1 or 2, they were like, oh, okay, cool, and now we've gotten this functional thing out of this particular workshop. So now the value is there. Now they kind of see it.